You know, so I mentioned earlier about what would you do if you know, were not a musician. You know, it was a myriad of things that you guys mentioned that you could have done, you know, if you weren't, you know, a musician. But one of the things that I noticed throughout the years is that musicianship within itself almost became or is a culture. It's a culture within itself to be an accomplished, you know, musician who plays in an organized band. It's almost as if you get followers, you get folks who want to be like you. They want to wear their LA hat and, you know, and play the organ, or they're gonna, you know, try and imitate that, you know, what they see. And what I wanted you guys to just take just a little bit of time just to stress the importance of remaining consistent, sticking to getting this specific song right, not taking shortcuts.
Yeah, I mean, you just took the words out of our mouths. You know, consistency is important. You know, what you practice is important. Learning all of the jazz, all of that is great. It's tools for what you can use at that particular moment. And so you just, you know, you develop with your practice and your experiences, trial and error. You know what to do, when to do it. You know what I mean? So in that consistency, you know.
See, I've got a 13-year-old, 14-year-old nephew who I visited in San Diego, and he wants to learn how to play, you know, keys, piano, and what a great instrument, you know, to choose. And I'm sure he's watching, you know, today, and I know he's inspired. But he'll be starting his journey, you know, soon with wanting to learn how to play, and just how you can really open up, like you said, another part of who you are, expand, right? And not just be part of, oh, I'm on the track team, I'm on the football team. You find that you're this other person, you know, who can develop, you know, as well. Bennett, what about you, man? What, just a few minutes or a couple of minutes on tidbits that you can give to the aspiring musician. What do they need to do?
Well, like you guys both said, consistency is the key. I even had the same cell phone number for 18 years. You know, consistency is the key. So if we can't depend on you, we can't use you. You know, if you don't learn the music, we can't use you, no matter how good you are. So.
So you wouldn't advise showing up late?
No. People have shown up late before, and we've shown them the door.
Because service starts at, right?
Service, rehearsal, it's all the same. So, you know, you can't start at 11 if you're not there at 11.
Yeah, and being on time doesn't mean show up at the time of service.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, so if you're on time, you're late then.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Good. Bryan?
Um,
You practice scales on that thing every day? What do you do, man? You plug in and crank it up and blow the neighbors? Like, you know, Bennett, he don't care. He just turn his organ up at midnight.
They stand at the gate, though. They don't care.
Like they said, consistency. Consistency is important, but I would say, you know, you definitely want to watch those who are in positions that you want to be in. You know, study those that come before you, and never stop learning. Like, there's no end destination. Like, it's about the journey, like the process. Like, it's never ending. Like a doctor, for example, like we were talking about earlier. You know, once you become a physician, you're in a practice.
Yes, sir.
You know, so you're still practicing medicine. So we're still practicing music. We're always learning. We're always growing, no matter how much success or how far we go in this music thing, we're always learning. And that's, you know, something you want to always have, like never stop learning.
For sure. Demetrius?
I mean, pretty much what everybody said, consistency. For me, as you know, as a drummer, we have this, you know, drummers have this knack or the ability to like play over everything. a drummer back home, producer named Brian Kendrick. He used to sit me down and it's like, yeah, that's all that stuff sounds good, but you got to open your ears, and that really stuck with me. Open up your ears and actually listening to everybody instead of the drums. You know what I mean? So like, that's one thing I took pride in, is trying to establish just, that feel of being able to stay out the way.
Is that called what? Staying in the pocket?
Yeah, it's a pocket, staying in the pocket, being able to be relied on, that's another thing that I took pride in, showing up on time, being in rehearsals and stuff, learning the music, it's like Dub said, it's you're always a student, you're always learning, so, always, stay humble in that sense of, you don't know everything, and that's especially for me, I'm only 28, so,
you just had to throw that out there. Huh?
Yeah.
Thanks.
So I will never claim I know it or ever anything like that. So
sure.
I always learning, watching, anything that to make sure nothing's lacking on my end.
That's great.
You know what I mean? Because that's one thing I know as musicians. If you're covering somebody and they really drastically feel that you're not the person that they're used to, so I always want to take pride in, that I'm, a presence that, it's not missed, as far as like, if I'm filling in or something like that, I don't want to be that person that like, that's just lacking, that it's not up to par, it's always a drive.
I get the feeling when I hear you guys play that the person who's listening is going, man, if I could just, sound like that. Or if I could just, make that organ whistle like, that sounded, man, the organ was just like a cat over there. I could hear that, wow, in certain portions, of the song. And it seems like you gentlemen appreciate giving back. You want to give back. You want to, give this part of it. Or like Michael saying, hey, I'm interested, man, in how the whole puzzle comes together. I could be here, I'm fine. But he has a different love, for it. Bennett, I've heard the same thing. He's just like, yeah, I know when it's on, but when it's not, Like there's a sense that I didn't just practice just to practice. We practice because there's a reason, right? There's a reason behind it, right? Not just because we want to receive compensation for our talents, which you should, but that you're interested in the overall outcome. Does it still touch you when people lives change, man?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's what it's about.
Yes, sir.
I think one of the greatest compliments you can get is from somebody that don't do music, and they come to you and say, I was blessed by your ministry, or I was touched. Thank you for that. That's one of the greatest feelings you can ever have. You're on the right track.
Right.
With that. So.
Right.